Again, meetup. 2 months had passed since that explosive night, yet JK and Vian's relationship remained as turbulent as ever. Occasionally, Vian would see a softer side of him, a glimpse of the affection she did once hoped for. But before long, his cold demeanor would resurface, and they did drift back to the uncomfortable silence that had become their new normal. One rainy afternoon, Vian found herself sitting alone in a quiet corner of a bustling cafe, savoring the warmth of her coffee as she tried to distract herself from her conflicted feelings about Jungkook. Just as she was beginning to lose herself in thought, she spotted a familiar figure at a nearby table. Her heart froze for a moment as she saw Jungkook seated with another woman, laughing and engaged in what looked like an animated conversation. The sight instantly ignited a surge of jealousy and hurt within her. How dare he sit there laughing with someone else? The betrayal she had felt months ago in their marriage flared up all over again, mixed now with a deep sense of pain. Unable to control herself, Vian stood and stormed over to their table, her voice barely containing the anger boiling within her. "Wow, Jungkook," she said, her tone dripping with sarcasm as she glared at him. "So, when I come to a cafe with an old friend, you accuse me of cheating, but here you are sitting with her and laughing as if you don't have care in the world." Jungkook's face hardened and he stood up, his cold eyes narrowing. "Shut up, Vian," he said through clenched teeth, his voice low but laced with fury. "What nonsense are you talking about?" "Oh, it's nonsense, is it?" Vian's voice shook with anger. "When you saw me and Eunwoo, you acted like I did committed some unforgivable crime. You humiliated me, Jungkook, but here you are laughing and smiling with who is this even?" "This is Lisa, my business partner," Jungkook replied with barely controlled anger. "Unlike you, I'm not here to play around. Stop making baseless accusations." Vian's fists clenched at her sides, her heart pounding. "So I'm the one making baseless accusations now?" She shot back, her voice rising. "You are so quick to judge me, Jungkook, but maybe the truth is you have never truly cared about me. Maybe there is always been someone else in your heart." "Vian, I'm warning you." Jungkook's tone turned deadly cold. His jaw set in frustration. "You are crossing a line." "No, Jungkook, I'm telling the truth." Vian was almost shouting now, her hurt and anger pouring out uncontrollably. "You have never loved me, and maybe I have been a fool to think you ever would. You cheated me, better yet, me in every possible way." In a flash, Jungkook raised his hand, his palm striking her cheek. The entire cafe went silent as the sound echoed. Vian staggered back, holding her cheek, her eyes wide with shock and tears brimming. The betrayal and pain cut deeper than any words could express. Get out of here, Vian, Jungkook hissed, his face twisted in fury and frustration. I don't want to see your face again. Vian looked at him one last time, the pain evident in her teary eyes. Without another word, she turned and walked out of the cafe, her heart heavy and broken. As Vian drove away, her hands shook on the steering wheel, tears streaming down her face. She was barely paying attention to the road, her mind clouded with hurt and anger. The words they did exchanged replaying over and over. Suddenly she missed a red light, and before she could react, a car came speeding from the other direction, slamming into hers. The impact was deafening, and everything went black. Hours later, Vian's father stood by her hospital bed, worry etched into his face as he watched his daughter lying there, bruised and unconscious. When Vian finally opened her eyes, she saw her father's worried face hovering over her. Dad, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Vian, my dear, thank God you are okay, he murmured, holding her hand tightly. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I should have never let you marry that man. I should have protected you from all this pain. Tears filled Vian's eyes as she recounted everything that had happened between her and Jungkook, her heart breaking all over again. Her father listened quietly, a dark anger growing within him as she spoke. You are not going back to him, Vian, he said firmly. I will make sure of it. That man does not deserve you. He stood up and made a call to Jungkook, his voice tense as he informed him of Vian's accident. Jungkook's voice on the other end was filled with worry and panic as he promised to come to the hospital right away. When Jungkook arrived at the hospital, he looked disheveled and visibly distressed. The moment he saw Vian lying in the hospital bed, his heart ached with guilt and regret. He approached her slowly, his voice choked with emotion. Vian, I'm so sorry, he whispered, tears gathering in his eyes as he reached for her hand. I never meant for things to get this bad. This is all my fault. Vian's face remained expressionless, her eyes staring off to the side as she refused to look at him. His heart stuttered as he realized she was not willing to forgive him. Just then, her father entered the room carrying a set of papers in his hand. He looked at Jungkook with a steely gaze, the kind that held no room for negotiation. Jungkook, I think it's time you leave my daughter alone, he said firmly. He held out the paper of Jungkook. These are divorce papers. Ryan won't be returning to you. Jungkook's eyes widened in shock as he took the papers, his hands trembling. He looked at Ryan, desperation in his gaze. Ryan, please don't do this. I can change. I will make things right. Just don't leave me like this. Ryan turned to face him, then her expressions calm but filled with a deep sadness. Jungkook, you hurt me in ways I can't even begin to explain. I loved you, trusted you, but you never believed in me. You humiliated me, double me, and now there's no going back. Tears spilled down Jungkook's face as he pleaded with her. Ryan, please, I will do anything. Don't leave me. I can't lose you. But Ryan's face remained resolute as she whispered, goodbye, Jungkook. Jungkook stared at her, his heart breaking as he realized she meant it. With a shaking hand, he signed the divorce papers, the finality of it crushing him. He stood there for a moment, looking at her one last time, hoping for a sign that she would change her mind. But Ryan's face was a mask of cold resolve, and he knew he had lost her. With one last tearful glance, he walked out of the hospital room, his heart heavy and shattered. Hours later, after Jungkook had left, Ryan's father spoke to the doctor, a worried expression on his face. Is my daughter going to be okay, doctor? The doctor smiled reassuringly. Yes, she's going to be fine, and congratulations, Mr. Kim. The baby is healthy as well. Ryan, who had been listening, sat up, her face filled with shock. Wait, baby? She whispered, her heart pounding as the doctor's words sank in. The doctor nodded with a gentle smile. Yes, Ryan, you are 2 weeks pregnant. It's a miracle considering what you have been through. Ryan's mind reeled with the news. She placed a hand on her stomach, a mixture of joy, disbelief, and sorrow filling her heart. Her tears fell silently as she thought about the tiny life growing within her. A new chapter of her life was being, and thought it was bittersweet. She resolved to be strong for her child. She did not need Jungkook. She would raise this child with all the love and care of deserved. And she would make sure it grew up in a world free from the pain and betrayal she had endured. To be continued.